Hello and welcome everybody to Star Citizen. The audio for this episode, this review of this ship is going to be recorded separately from the video, which is to say I've already recorded the I've already recorded the video and I'm just doing the audio right now. Why am I doing them separately? A couple of reasons. We don't need to get into that right now. Well, I hope you didn't hear that ding. Maybe you did. You actually probably did, as I'm doing some stuff in the background. What am I doing today? Well, we're doing the review of Star Citizen's new ship. Well, it's not really a new ship, but of Star Citizen's ship that came out recently as something that you can play for free and test out. It is the Aegis Dynamics Avenger. It is on free fly right now. Well, actually it's coming towards the end of its free fly thing. Right about when I release this video. I'm going to talk about it as you should be able to see. Well, I'm 99% sure that you're able to see footage of me flying solo Vandal Swarm with it. People do give like he and she names to their ships out of like love and respect and whatnot, which is kind of cool. Anyways, yes, the Aegis Dynamics Avenger. Is it any good, and what do I think of it? My apologies. Is it any good, and what do I think of it? Well, first of all, it's not amazing, right? It's not one of those ships where you cough up $60, $70, $100 and get to dominate every other ship that's not in that price range. It is not that type of ship, right? Even though that's technically not true, like a good pilot will still beat any type of ship with a decent ship on his own side. Like it isn't pay to win what I'm trying to say. It is still skill, but it is in no way going to influence you and the way you play in a huge and massive way. It is a decent ship. Where would I put it in the universe, you know, when the game is done and everything? I would put it as a slightly above average beginner ship. Maybe underestimating it a little bit. Maybe. Of course, I hasten to add, everything I say can and probably will change in a matter of weeks, right? Not a matter of months or the next update, next big update or whatever. No. Things change daily. Ship stats are something that isn't a constant at all, right? They change very quickly depending on their balance, depending on other ships, depending on so many different things. And it's not just a ship. You got to remember, you put your own components into it, so it's not, you know, just the ship that we're looking at. It's also looking at other components. But the free to play, the test driving version of it that we got has some poor armament, and that's where I'm going to start. Now, I need to, in my defense, I have not played Star Citizen in a very long time. That's why my aim is atrocious, as I've no doubt you've been able to see multiple times during this this demonstration here. We're about, what, 4 minutes in? Yeah, by now you have seen some incredible misses, and prepare for them. We'll see a lot more of them as the video moves on. But regardless of that fact, the armament on it is pretty poor. Which is not to say it's bad. It's better than some of the lower class ships in comparison to it, but it is not spectacular, and without putting your own guns and cannons onto it, it's a bit underwhelming. That said, let's talk about some of the positives on the thing. Its top speed is nothing remarkable. It is just, you know, it is what it is. You have the number, you can look at it and you can think of it what you will. It's not slow, it's not sluggish, it's not a speed demon either, sort of in the middle. What I will say surprised me a lot, and you kind of can see it in the video later on. I sort of try and demonstrate that. Is the Aegis Dynamics Avenger is an incredibly tough little bastard. Sure enough, you go up against fighter jet. Well, it's not a jet, but you know, a fighter craft with huge missiles and cannons strapped onto it, and it will tear through it. But fight some lower class enemies, some simple Vanduul scavengers or auroras, if you're doing PvP, and they're going to have a tough time penetrating your shields. After they do that, they're going to have a tough time going through your armor. The ship is, as a pretty shape, it's very pretty. I like the shape of the ship. But its shields are a lot tougher than I expected them to be. For a ship of its price range, its class, its type, I suppose, it looks more like a gunship, right? It looks like a chopper, you know, without the rotor blades. It kind of reminds me of a gunship more than a fighter craft or an interceptor, an interpid class of vessel. But in comparison to that, it's tough. Like, it's surprisingly tough. I don't know why I expected it to be a sort of like a glass cannon, but it's not a cannon, it's like a musket. And it's not a glass musket either, it's a steel musket. This is a very bad analogy, but, you know, regardless, it is a very tough ship, and it kind of surprised me when I was flying it that I had taken, you know, quite a few shots, and yet I've basically, I'm untouched. Like, the shield's absorbed it all, then recharged, and I'm like, okay. What is the key selling point of this, at least for me, and probably will be for you in the future, with later updates coming on? We're going to have open space, you know, we're going to have economy to worry about, you know, it's not just going to be fly around and kill a couple of Vanduul or whatever. You know, later on in the game, what I think will be a key selling point of the machine, or of the craft, is its ammo capacity. You will see that I've missed 90% of the shots I've fired. But I'm not penalised for it in the sense of my ammo running out. I've had ships that I flew, that I have in my hangar, that I flew where ammo is scarce. You have to pick your shots, right? Here, I should just spam through all of eternity, and I'm going to have a crap ton of ammo left. Its ammo capacity is very, very, very impressive on both its guns. That we get right now. That is, that we get on the free version, or I guess the base version of the craft. Its flares, both the anti-heat ones and the anti-electronic ones, if that makes any sense. I have no clue what they're actually called. Point is, I know how they work and I know what they are. That's, I guess, ultimately all that's important. But they have 60 of each, I think. You can see on the screen, so I may be wrong, but you can see on the screen how many of those you have. That's, again, pretty... It's a big number, right? So you can stay in a fight for an incredibly long amount of time, which leads to this ability of, I guess, ability that we'll have in the future if it stays like this with the ammo capacity and everything. The ability of the Avenger to wage almost a war of attrition against other craft, even some that are more advanced than itself. Again, you know, if you get a guy firing 4 missiles at you, your heart is going to race while you're dodging them, right? It's not going to be a comfortable experience. But if you do manage to dodge through most of his bullets, most of his rockets, well, I guess all of his rockets, then you will have the upper hand, as he's going to have to reload his cannons and he's going to deplete his rockets. So for a good pilot, with good maneuverability skills, you know, with good dodging skills, good piloting skills, this can be a very, very good craft, even when fighting higher tier aircraft. I keep saying aircraft, they're not aircraft, they're spacecraft. Even when fighting higher tier ships, and there isn't actually tiers, but, you know, more expensive and better ships. Objectively better ships. That said, it's not, right now, there isn't too much reason for you to have it, as you can get better ships for the game in the state in which it is right now, whereby you have no economy, you have a very limited map, you have very limited game modes, but I'm sort of conducting this review as more so for future reference, because right now it doesn't really matter. Like, the balance of the ships doesn't really matter, as they can change it like that within the next week, and any video, any analysis that you make, either for yourself or for YouTube, like I'm doing right now, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever because it can change so quickly. But there are some general stats of vessels that we can talk about, such as the ammo capacity, which I just mentioned. As far as dodging, I talked a lot about dodging as I take a sip of my water here. Excellent. Professionalism at its finest. Dodging, I talked about dodging. Well, it's not exactly the most maneuverable ship. There are definitively a shit ton of more vessels that are a lot more maneuverable than this particular craft that we are faced with here. However, it doesn't need to be the fastest ship. It doesn't need to be the fastest turning ship in the game to dodge. It is something that I feel people often overlook. You don't need to have the best engine in order to outrun someone. You just need to have a better engine than he has. You don't need to have the best turn speed and agility as you move around through space in order to dodge a missile. You just need to have enough to be able to physically dodge it, right? And a good pilot, I hasten to add, doesn't need the best ship. He just needs a slightly better ship than the guy behind him in order to completely win that duel every single time. So I feel like this is a ship that's good for newcomers, as it's a simple ship, right? You don't have a lot of things to worry about. It's basically a gunship. Get in it, you shoot stuff, and you dodge out of the way of other stuff. It's a very simplistic ship. But I feel like it will and can reward good pilots. Now it's guns. Let's talk about its guns. The base guns that we have are not that very good. I already said that. But the aiming is a bit strange. It's nothing you're not used to if you played this type of weapon layout before. And if you have, good job. I never have. The weapon layouts I've played with is either all mobile weapons that you can adjust with your mouse, like you can aim with your mouse, or all fixed weapons that you can't really aim with. You can just sort of put your ship over the spot where they're supposed to fire and then, you know, hit like that. Basically like a modern aircraft, right? But the base version is given a combination of both. You have two cannons on the side of your cockpit. Well, kind of the side of your cockpit. They're not on your wings, they're sort of more towards the cockpit. Two fixed cannons firing from there, and you have a machine gun that is mobile that you can aim with. So it is often confusing which ones you need to use and how do you use them both. Because at one point your mobile machine gun turns into a fixed cannon, and your fixed cannons can't turn into mobile machine guns. So it can be a bit confusing initially on how to use those guns, and you can see me sort of struggle here as well, I assume. Again, I'm just staring at something else, doing something else. I'm not looking at the footage, but I know what I played. And I know I was struggling at the time with all those things. So that said, the guns, you can change the layout of the guns. You will be able to later down the line add a crap ton of more guns as soon as they're added into the game. But I mean, as it stands right now, they're not very powerful, and I guess that's my sort of primary concern for the weapons. I wish they packed a bit more of a punch to them. But it is how it is. Yeah, we can't really. But I'm getting distracted. I should not be getting distracted. Moving on. It is where it is, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. There's no point in hoping for it to change magically on the spot. It will, undoubtedly. Everything is going to change, but for now, it is where it is. We just have to sort of deal with it. Ultimately, would I recommend such a vessel? Well, that's an interesting question. because if I head over to Robert's Space Industries right now, and I'm going to look up the price of this. I should have looked this up way before. But basically, am I going to recommend something like this for you to buy it? If you're sitting there thinking, should I get this? Should I get this? Should I get this? Oh, for Christ's sake, this vessel. Buy it with my real money. Should I spend money on it and have it after it's for fuck's sake, I am tripping over words right now. Should I buy it after its free fly period is over? Well, it's a bit expensive. It is, isn't it? It is. Like, the Avenger Interceptor is $75 with the game package. That's the Avenger Interceptor. I'm trying to find the... Is that the ship that we were given? Probably. It was a different variant of it. I'm trying to find the exact variant of the ship that we have right now on the website here, but yes, it looks to me like this is the ship that we're talking about. My friend, actually, a good friend of mine, has this ship, and he let me fly, obviously, you know, quite a few times, and shout out to him. But here's the thing, right? This is a good ship. It is a very good ship. It is a pretty ship. Add on top of that the fact that you can change pretty much the only thing wrong with it, which is its guns. And it's not wrong, they're great guns, right? You have a machine gun and 2 cannons on the side, that's amazing, right? That's good armament. I wish it were better, that's a story for a different time. But add to that you can change its weapons later on in the game and pretty much eliminate that problem very cheaply without any sort of real money spending whatsoever. The Aegis Avenger is... I can't recommend it. I can't recommend it because it's expensive. And it's not... There are other vessels that you can buy that I would recommend over it. But when it comes down to it, it's not really that much of a difference between ships. It's sort of your personal preference. It stops being a game of numbers, and it should never be in Star Citizen. It should never be, this ship is slightly better at this than this one, so I'm going to get that one. No. Pick the one that you like best. So, as I said, in the game package, the entire game package for this ship costs $75. That's standard American dollars. The ship alone, standalone, costs $60. So $60 for a ship is a bit expensive. Getting it right now, I cannot recommend, simply because of its price. Then again, if you were to get it, I'd encourage you to do so, as you help the game out. But we get it 80 million for Star Citizen, right? We don't. I don't want to recommend. I don't want to say this, but we don't really need that much more money for the game. Like, yeah, we need money, but we don't need that much more money for Star Citizen. Like, the goal, the max goal ever set for the community to give to the game itself was $60 million. Right, $60 million. We gone to 80 something, and I'm probably mistaken about that. We probably are at 90 right now, aren't we? I'm guessing that any day now we're gonna get to $90 million as well, which is amazing. You know, it is where it is. If you really like the ship, if you tried it and absolutely loved it, who am I to tell you don't buy it, right? Who am I to tell you, you know, it's wrong, you shouldn't buy this ship. But I wouldn't. Then again, I'm broke. But even if, for a lower price, yes. Does it deserve a lower price? No. Realistically, compared to other vessels, it is exactly where it should be. It is a pretty damn expensive ship. and a beautiful ship on the inside, which is probably something that free-to-play, well, I say free-to-play, it's not free-to-play, it's fly it for free for some time. Probably those players won't have a chance to experience that. On the inside is an incredibly pretty ship, and it is something that I would love to fly around in the actual game, in the real game when it's released, right? I would love to do that, but right now, it's a good ship. It's okay, but it's not blowing me away, which is what I'm getting at, I suppose. So that does not conclude my review of it thus far, but that's more or less all of the. It's more or less my opinion on the ship. This is less of a review, as more of my opinion on what I think of it. Because making any sort of review and going in depth into playing the ship first of all, and then in depth into examining every detail about the ship doesn't make any sense, because I said they're going to change a lot of these things many times, you know, not just once. But that said, you know, take everything I say with a pinch of salt, because by the time you're looking at this video, it may have already changed, you know. Anyways, what else can we say about this ship? If you can talk to someone either on the forum or on the RSI, the RSI forum or anywhere else, generally the community is pretty friendly over here most of the time. I do suggest that you talk to someone who's played the ship a lot more and get his opinion on it, objective, because you know, I'm just saying, don't take this video as the ultimate should I get it or should I not get it. Look at somewhere else, because I don't want to be responsible for you spending $60 and either not liking the ship or liking it a lot. I don't want to take that responsibility. So it is more or less what I will. It is more or less it. As far as the company that makes it, Aegis Dynamics, well, it doesn't matter who made it. Let's be honest, it doesn't matter who made it. But if you're into this sort of stuff and you want to roleplay a little bit, Aegis makes extremely high quality ships. The company in the game, Aegis, makes extremely high quality ships. It's across the board. There we go. The technical overview follows. This is where most people leave because they don't really care. Was this something you would have to see for yourself, as it's difficult to explain? But if you actually, I don't know how many of you know this, but if you go over to the website, Rubber Space Industries, and you go over to, and you find the Aegis Avenger and you click on it, you can actually look at the ship in the hold viewer, and you can see where everything is. You can see where the front is, where you can view it from the angles, you can see it, you know, you can see different points of interest and everything. Well, you can actually see the X-ray of the ship, which is kind of amazing. Which I suggest you go there and take a look at the ship before, because I can't show you any of this right now. But the fact that you can put missiles on this, and the fact that you can put pretty badass missiles, pretty big missiles. What type of missile? Big. On it is good. It's very good. Very good, and there we go. it's a very important thing for the future. Its cargo capacity is 12. We don't really know what this is about, what cargo capacity is about. From what I've seen inside the ship, you know, physically being inside the ship, its cargo capacity is not as small as you might expect, because this is a one-person crew ship. You can't put two people in it. It's a, you know, it's a single-manned craft. Sorry, craft. But it doesn't seem to be very much on the luxury side, even though it's an incredibly pretty ship. Like, it's all pretty crammed up in there to make room for the cargo bay and the guns and the ammo and everything, which is why I said it has an impressive ammo capacity. So it's sort of all crammed up in there. Even though it looks pretty, it's not exactly elegant, right? It's not a luxury class fighter. I'm pretty sure those don't exist, but we can make them. We can will them into being in existence with our money. The shield is S3. Max size is S3. You get with the base ship, you get S3 on it. Again, these things don't exactly mean much to us right now, but from personal experience, S3 is a good shield. It's not the best shield, God no. We all know who's going to have the best shields, but for a fighter craft that is only 19 meters in diameter, in length, and only 13,000 kilograms in weight, S3 seems like a very good shield. Again, like most of the stuff that I shot at, not just in the game you're watching right now, but most of the stuff I shot at in general, has had trouble going through my shields and killing me. So, maneuvering thrusters TR1, and it has plenty of those, as you might expect. You know, I already talked about this. It's not the fastest and the most elegant and maneuverable ship, but it gets the job done, which is, I guess, ultimately the only thing that's important. It gets the job done, and in my personal experience, I didn't find it's sluggish, or I was never impeded by its lack of maneuverability. If I missed someone, if I didn't dodge a bullet, well, not a bullet, a laser or a ray gun or whatever, it was because I was slow, not the ship. So, there we go. It has one global mount, 2 fixed S2 mounts, pylon mount, 2 of them from what I can see, and 1 additional equipment you can put on it. What do you put in additional equipment? We'll see. Prisoner transfer pods apparently is something you can put in, well, we'll be able to put in, which is very interesting. Can I actually take live prisoners and capture them? That would be amazing. But yeah, for a long time, the Aegis Avenger used to be different, actually. It used to have more powerful guns, I think. I'm not... what I say, take it with a pinch of salt. I have not researched this. This is coming off the top of my head. I think the first time I flew it was with some guy's account, which he gave to me just to test around. Can't remember, but I seem to recall it having much better guns than this, or well, it could be the same guns, but the stats on the guns were different back then, and I think it used to be faster as well. So back in the day, in the earliest days of the space flight module, this used to be one of the best ships that you can fly. Then again, there weren't a lot of ships that you can fly back then, so, you know, things changed very quickly. But, that said, looking at some of the other vessels here, I'm sort of curious what they added in, because I haven't taken a look at the shop in a while. I probably shouldn't take a look at what ships are here, because I don't want to. It's going to force me to buy one of them, and it's going to be embarrassing, and I don't have any money, and there's personal problems that you don't need to concern yourselves with, and are probably annoyed by. Aside, never mind. I have a problem with this game. I have a slight bit of a problem with this game in that it said Arena Commander Pass included on this ship when I bought it. Now it doesn't, and I'm confused by the changes in the shop as I'm looking at them, which is not something that you care at all about, but here we are nonetheless. That's more or less my review of the ship. about 5 minutes of actual reviewing and 25 minutes of just nothing, really. Just drinking water and absolutely not saying anything useful whatsoever, but then again, I don't know what I expected. I hope I didn't annoy you too much with the video, and I hope that somehow you found some of this helpful. I'm interested about your experiences with the ship, very much so. I'm interested in what you have to say about it, if you've flown it. You probably did with the free week thing that we get to fly around with it. What have been your experience with it? Let's try that again. What have been your experiences with it? Yes. And do you agree with me? Do you completely disagree with me? I'd like to have a chat in the comments, and yeah, there we go. I guess that's more or less it. Until next time, take care. My name's been Juggernaut. Bye-bye.